hold on.
Welcome to another episode of Little Black Dress, and I am one of your co-hosts, Ashley. Colin, my sidekick, she's not here, but I am so excited to introduce to you our first official guest of honor, the lovely and talented and beautiful Janam. So, Janam, welcome to the show. Take a moment and let all the ladies out there know exactly who you are.
Hi. So I'm so excited to be here. I did not think I'd be doing this again, but here I am, and I'm so happy to do it with you. And I feel so honored. I feel really special. When I first found out that I was the first one, and Colin had emailed me, I was like, I could cry right now.
I love.
um, I'm really excited to be a part of this. If for the people that don't know me, my name is Janam Patel. I am from Georgia, and I'm an anesthesiologist assistant. I am the oldest of five siblings, and what else is there to know about me?
Tell everyone how we first connected.
Yes. So, the podcast,
Yeah,
right? Is that really how we first connected?
that is. Yeah.
Yes. So when Ashley was on Dental Friends with Benefits, I was super obsessed with the podcast. And then I think I reached out to you, and then
Did. Oh my God.
we just became friends.
Was I didn't know who you were, and you wrote a very long like message to me about how you were like binge listening to the show, and it was, and you were resharing the stories about the podcast, which was so cool. Um,
Yeah.
Yeah, so no, oh my gosh, I'm so excited to have you on as our first guest. This is going to be awesome. So, we like to start the show with this or that. So this is Colin's
Okay.
thing. So every Saturday on Instagram, she'll do a this or that just to get to know the audience. It's a nice little icebreaker. So it's going to be rapid fire. I'm going to give
Oh
you
God.
four things. It's just like whatever comes to mind first. Okay,
Okay.
you
I
ready?
won't try to stress.
Okay. Apple or Android? Sorry.
Apple.
Mountains or ocean?
Oceans.
Wine or beer?
Wine.
Ryan Reynolds or Ryan Gosling?
Oh, Ryan Gosling.
Okay. Oh my goodness. That's a tough one. Yeah.
It is. I have a harder one for you. Can I bring it
Yes.
back to you?
Yes.
Chris Evans or Chris Hemsworth?
Ooh, Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah, same.
That accent, forget about
He's
it.
just such a big guy too. I like big guys.
He's Thor. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
No,
mean,
so good. Okay. So, Johnum, who are you? What is your party trick?
oh, did I? I thought I put it on there, but I don't really remember what it was. Oh, I can give you IVs. I
Yeah.
can do that. Okay, I can probably share this. It's fine. So on my bachelorette party, we got hammered. Like I was trashed. We went through like a whole thing of tequila. We like two, maybe one and a half thing, like bottles of tequila. We had just gotten back from the wine tour. I mean, we were donezo. And I was with some other friends that are also and like they're anesthetists, and we started putting IVs in every.
Shut up. Wait, you actually brought IVs with you?
Yeah, yeah, and we just started putting IVs in everybody.
Okay, what I'm trying to, let's paint the scene. Where are you? How many of your closest girlfriends are there?
Okay, so I want to say there was 12 of us, maybe, in a cabin in North Georgia,
Okay.
and we are all laying in the like entrance of the cabin where it's like wooden floors because we're all like, don't want to make a mess. We need to be able to clean things up. Like this can get bloody, and
Oh my gosh.
and
Oh,
so we're all laying there. And I think it was just me and my one friend actually doing it because our other friend was also really fucked up. But we were drunk and it was probably not the best idea. But everyone was fine the next day. It was great. Uh,
oh my God.
yeah.
The thought of you piercing someone while you're inebriated just is terrifying.
Yeah, yeah. Well, if we ever have a gathering, and you guys, get some IV bags, I
That
will
is,
take care of you guys. We do it before you get inebriated, so you're already like hydrated really well. So
see, that
that's
is
what we should have done.
smart. That is
when you do
really
that.
smart. Did you hear anything about drinking a ton of coconut water before to prevent a hangover? Have you heard of that? Because it's so high.
No, but you know those big things of Pedialyte, like the big
Yes.
bottles of Pedialyte? So if you drink half of it before you drink and then half of it when you get back, then the next day you don't have a hangover.
Okay, half before. So everybody at home take some notes. So this is an educational podcast. You guys had no idea.
We're teaching you all sorts of things.
All sorts of things. Okay, what is your drink of choice?
Tequila.
Tequila. So like straight up shots.
Yeah, I'm realizing as I'm getting older, even though I'm not that old, that drinking slowly when I'm trying to get drunk and having cocktails gives me a massive hangover the next day. Whereas if I just take a shot or two and then like ride it out, everything's better. So
Okay.
straight tequila is my choice.
Straight
Or
tequila.
mojitos. I actually really enjoy a good mojito.
So how many shots does it take for Janam to start getting a buzz?
So on my birthday, my sister, I think I scared my sister a little bit. Not my birthday, on my actually probably my birthday too. We did celebrate on my birthday and I got really trashed. Um but at my bachelorette party, I think I scared her because I drank so much and was still there. Like I should have probably blacked out, but I didn't. But
Wow.
we had a dance party and a push-up competition and a plank competition. It was ridiculous.
That sounds like not my kind of party. Like
No, it happened. The thing is usually it's not for us either. But I think we were all just so drunk and happy that it
I
just
love it.
that's what happened. But so my relationship with alcohol is changing a lot with all the therapy I've been doing. So it actually doesn't take nearly as much for me to get drunk anymore. I don't think this is something people think about, but like alcohol is a downer, right? And so when we drink because we're stressed, it
Yes.
usually takes us a lot more to actually get drunk. So there's probably times in your life and I've talked to a lot of people about this, where you're like, wow, it didn't take me a lot to get drunk last night. Or wow, it took like a lot. I drank a lot of alcohol last night and didn't like nothing happened. And it probably has to do with your anxiety and your stress.
Hmm.
So when I started therapy, I would like, and I really started understanding my baseline anxiety. I was starting to get buzzed after like one glass of wine, which would have never happened
Hmm.
before, you know? So it probably only takes about two shots and I'll feel pretty good.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
Well, I think that is the perfect segue into, I think, the meat and potatoes of this conversation. So, Johnam, I am going to let you take the floor, so to speak, and just tell everyone whatever you're comfortable with sharing. Like, where is Johnam at this stage? Like, and then walk us through when you started therapy, why you started therapy, and all the things that you feel comfortable sharing.
Okay. So I'm pretty much an open book. If any of you follow me on Instagram, you'll see like I share a lot of my stuff there. Uh, but for those of you who knew me in Dental Friends with Benefits, know that I was engaged to Tyler Tolbert, and we are no longer together. And I'm not going to really talk about our relationship at all and like what happened, but we're not together anymore. And that was hard. We've been together for, it'll have been 8 years in November. So that's a really long time. It's almost like a marriage is ending. So I struggled a lot. I took a whole month off of work.
Mhm.
I took a leave of absence and I started therapy. And ever since then, things have been like really good for me. I learned a lot about myself and my baseline anxiety. And I have a lot of childhood trauma that I've never acknowledged as trauma.
Mhm.
And I read a book called What Happened to You, which really helped me dive into how what happened to me as a child has really messed me up today. Um, and I recommend it to anybody who has had a really hard childhood,
Mhm.
because we always ask questions like, why am I this way? Like, what's wrong with me? How could I do stuff like this? And like, why would I engage in this pattern of behavior? Well, most of the time it's because something happened to you that made you that way. You have some kind of coping mechanism, survival mechanism, self-preservation that made you that way. So that's what the book did for me. I read that and I went to therapy, and for the first time in my life is about myself and nobody else,
Mm.
which it's literally never been that way. It's always been, especially in our cultures, like what your parents want, what does society, what does your culture expect of you? And then when you're the oldest, it's like my siblings, I did everything for my siblings. I felt so much guilt leaving to go to grad school in Florida because I was leaving them.
Mm.
And even when I was leaving and like going to move to Phoenix, like my sister in her therapy session said, like, it feels like she's abandoning me.
Now, I feel free to not share if you just tell me, because I'm not gonna ask you any specifics about your relationship with Tyler, but can you I'm gonna ask you this because I'm also a brown girl, and just expectations, like your wedding was scheduled for weeks away, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can you, I mean, the amount of pressure that goes into just expectations, like how we have to be perfect in front of our friends and family. The thought of calling off a big Indian wedding in front of your
Yeah.
friends and family. Do you mind sharing just like what you were going through, walking through that season, and how you approached your parents with it, with the news?
That was the hardest part. I had no idea how my parents were going to react. I mean, like, my parents love me. I mean, they love me so much, but their emotional, like, ability to be there is not great, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And I knew my mom was gonna like turn it, like I was worried she's gonna turn it into like about herself and like her failures, and like it was like I was gonna be parenting them.
Mm-hmm.
But my parents were actually really great. It was such a nice surprise. Like even now my mom's like, don't worry about any of it. I'll take care of all of it.
Wow.
And I thought my dad was gonna like lose his fucking shit because we spent a lot of money on this wedding,
Mm-hmm. Was any of
and
that recuperated?
some of it is. I have 500 King of Pops though, so that's like a really yummy popsicle place in Atlanta. So, if anyone is in Atlanta and wants to have a massive party, we can distribute all of these popsicles.
Oh.
It was hard. The hardest part, I mean, my parents have been great, and obviously our parents both want to know what happened, and I had to build so much of a relationship with my mom during all of this to like trust her with my emotions and like how I'm feeling. And even then she would sometimes turn it into like, I worked really hard so you don't have to worry about anything, and it turns into her life story all over again. But even then, like she came over one night and just held me, and like we watched a movie together, and I just cried. And I know all she wants is for me to be okay. And she's like actually okay. Like she likes that I'm going to therapy and she sees the benefit of it. Like she's seen it. And she wants to thank my therapist. So I was like, you can get on a meeting with me and like tell her thank you yourself. Um, it was hard. And it felt like ending the marriage wasn't as hard, like the wedding, I mean, because honestly, for me, nothing was going to change after marriage. We've been together for 8 years. In some places, that's like a common law marriage,
Mm-hmm.
So like nothing in our relationship was changing for me. But ending our relationship was, I think that there's some people in our family who still don't know we're not together. And that was hard. And like reaching out to people, even on his side of the family, and saying like, I did it yesterday. I reached out to one of his cousins that's like really young, and I was like, look, like we're not together, but I'm always here for you if you need me. Like I will always be here if you need me. So she texted me back, and it was good. It was a nice little. It that was the scariest part, is thinking I was going to lose all that,
Mhm.
and I'm not. And I think of naturally it'll start to drift, but his parents are my parents, and they will be forever for me. So, and we were really close. I mean, we're all really close. So I literally just saw his mom like last week.
Oh,
Before I came here. She's keeping Pabu right now. So,
well, how did you alert your guests about the change?
so I just went through all my different friend groups, and I just sent them text.
Oh,
And then I have a lot of really amazing friends who were like, send us the guest list of people from our friend group, and then we'll take care of the rest. And then my parents took care of like the family, and his parents took care of their family. So it was it wasn't as hard as we thought it was going to be, and nobody showed up, so that's good. Yeah.
well, I mean, I commend you both, honestly, because that you had a very, I mean, this was an extravagant ordeal.
I
Um,
still have my wedding dress.
oh
I'm
God.
actually wearing my wedding band, which I will post a picture of for everybody who wants to see it. So I had two wedding bands that I got custom made by this person on Instagram. And when I had started life coaching not that long ago, and when I got married, I wanted to be very confident in myself, and I wanted to love myself, which I have never done. Like, I have never liked myself as a person, which is crazy because everybody likes me. Which is like such a weird thing for me to say about myself, but it's true. I'm getting more comfortable saying those things. But I told myself when I got married, I wanted to love myself. Like, I wanted that to be the first and foremost thing that I did, before I kept moving forward in our relationship. And the wedding was the date that I had decided on. Well, I didn't get married, but I still love myself. Like,
That,
I still got to that point, like I'm like in love with myself. So I still put my ring on, and I wear it. And one day when some dude comes along, he's going to have to add to this ring.
that's awesome.
He's
I
not going to
love
take anything
that.
away.
I love that so much. I can you can you walk us through the steps you took at finding a therapist and how often you started going, like once a week, twice a week, like how does one take that next step?
So I've gone to therapy before, and it didn't do anything. So the first step is like obviously realizing that you need therapy and giving yourself the time and space to do it.
Mhm.
I've known I needed therapy for a really long time, since I was in college, and I was just always deterred. Like, first, the thing that has to happen is that you want to actually change. That's the hard part. Like, being open to really opening yourself up completely to somebody, and feeling like you have that space. And then the second thing that has to happen is you have to find a therapist that really understands what you're going through. So there's therapists that are specifically for like relationships, right? Or childhood trauma, like they have, people who are transitioning. There's therapists for specific things. So I follow this, I think it's called Brown Girl Therapy. It's an Instagram page. I'll also share that. It gave me a list for, I think it's more specific to like South Asians, of therapists in every state and how much it would cost.
Mhm.
And I just kind of went through that. And I also posted on Instagram and asked people, who were they going to therapy to in Georgia? That's like honestly such a great resource. And this one person kept coming up. And so I said, why don't I just email her? So I emailed her, and next thing you know, I'm going to therapy. I go once a week.
Mhm.
That seemed to be enough. But at the time, so I won't delve into it too much, but at the time, I was going to couples counseling with Tyler. Um, not to like repair our relationship, but to heal, like figure out, what's we had to find a really healthy way to end this, and also figure stuff out about ourselves. So I was going to couples counseling, want like our joint session, then I did an individual session, and then I went to my own therapy. So I was going to 3 sessions a week.
Wow.
um, I don't anymore. Now I go once a week to my own therapist. I've ended my sessions with the couples counselor. But I was going through a lot of therapy, and it was a lot, and I took time off of work. So I was able to really invest my time in myself, which is a luxury. It is seriously such a massive privilege that I have to be able to say, I can take 2 weeks off of work, and I had the best freaking coworkers. Like my anesthesiologists and everybody at work were like, go, like we'll figure, everyone's short staffed. You know what COVID looks like right now. Our hospitals are a freaking mess right now. And thankfully it wasn't as bad when I was gone, but we're still short staffed. And to have everybody at work be like, don't worry about us, we'll figure this out, like go take care of yourself, was amazing.
That is, uh, I mean, the support system is everything, right? Was
Mm-hmm.
there anything that you discovered about yourself in therapy? Like, because you had mentioned some childhood trauma. Like, was there any light bulb moments that you've had yet that have just like made you break down in therapy? Because I've had a couple of those.
Oh, I cried so much. I cried so much in therapy. I don't anymore. And maybe it'll happen once we really start delving in some more. But I think it was just realizing that I've always lived my life for my parents, and then my siblings, and then Tyler,
Mhm.
you know? And it was never I have like really bad attachment issues. Um I self-sabotage a lot. I have a fear of abandonment.
Mhm.
Um, and a lot of that comes from my parents, who, again, love me. But my therapist asked me this. This is when I cried. I cried when my therapist asked me this. And one of my cousins who used to live with us, she was older and she was in college when I was younger. And my therapist asked me, when you were a child, like when you were younger and you cried, who would you go to? And I couldn't answer her.
Hmm.
I didn't have an answer. There was no place for me emotionally, like safety wise, in my own home. And when I talked to my cousin, she said, when I was staying with you guys and I was going to college there, nobody ever put you first. And it wasn't that my parents didn't want to. I just think that they were incapable of it. They have a lot of their own trauma and so much stuff that they're never going to get to work through, you know? I mean, they're just kind of stuck. But no one ever put me first. Um, and that made getting through life a little bit harder for me. You know, it's why I work really hard to make everybody comfortable. And now it's just like a natural thing that I do, but I give a lot of love to people, and I do it with no like discrimination. Like it just is. Like I'll meet you and I will like give you all of my love. Like I'll just do it. And if you don't reciprocate it, that's fine, but you're going to get it, you know? Like I don't expect anything out of people in return. Um, which is why ending my relationship was really hard. Yeah.
How's your relationship with your mom? Like, did you guys have an open style of communication?
No, with neither one of my parents. It was always very rebellious. I was constantly fighting my parents to see things my way. Um, and I was still good though. I was still the good girl. I was still, I did a lot of like head ass shit when I was in high school hanging out with college kids. Like I should not be doing that. I should not have been getting drunk with college people when I was in high school. I really hope my children aren't like but like my parents, I've never been able to emotionally trust them. I still really don't all that much, but like you couldn't confide in them because they would never keep it amongst themselves,
Mm.
you know? And my mom works really hard and she tries. And we've had talks since I started therapy where I was like, look, like, I know you guys are doing your best, but these patterns that the two of you have, like her and my dad, has really wreaked havoc on all of us. There's 5 of us in that house that are kids, right? The kids. And you've wreaked havoc on all of us in some way, and we're all coping with it very differently. You know, I see it in all my siblings. And when my parents are home, it's very stressful. We're stressed at home. It's nice to be home, but we're really only home to see each other, like the siblings. But as soon as our parents come home, like we're stressed. And it's because of their own ways that they cope and like, you know, their problems. But like I've never had a healthy relationship with either one of my parents. And maybe that's changing now, but I think what I'm learning is just to not expect it to really change.
How is your relationship with your siblings?
Amazing. We're all really close.
How old is everyone?
So I have 2 cousins that live with us, but I call them my brothers because they literally have been with us for as long as I can remember. So they're all younger. There's two 21-year-olds. My sister and my brother are 21. And then there's one 19-year-old brother and one 17-year-old brother. Um, but I've always been their mom.
Mm.
And I'm finally being able to shift into like actually being their sister. And through all of this, they've been taking really good care of me. I mean, it was hard for me to accept that, you know, because I've always taken care of them. I've protected them from as much as I could as young as I was, you know, but to have them, like my brother stayed with me for a week last week. My sister's been coming and checking on me as much as she can. They spent a whole week at home with me. I mean, like something my sister said to me that just made me start crying was, you know, you don't have to be the only person in the house that has their shit together. Like she was giving me permission to like not be okay, you know. And then my other brother, who's 19, was like, we're a lot younger than you, and we don't there's nothing we're going to say that's going to help you. We're not experiencing any of what you're going through. But he said, God, he said, we're willing to do whatever it takes to get you back to being you.
Oh, Jana.
And he didn't realize what that meant to me, but it basically just reminded me like to think about who I actually am. Like who am I outside of my siblings, outside of Tyler, outside of my parents? Like who am I actually? And I just realized like I'm pretty great. I'm a really happy person, and like I make a lot of people around me happy, and I like really try to appreciate and love everything that's around me. And so for him to like say that kind of snapped me out of whatever I was going through at the time. And these are like my siblings.
That is that makes me so jealous because I have no siblings. Well,
Okay, well, come join the family.
I will. I want to get adopted into your family. Well,
Yeah.
what does your day-to-day self-care look like these days?
It changes a lot. So yesterday I laid in bed, like literally that bed. Today is the first time I went outside to get food because I kept ordering it.
I love it.
But I laid in bed and I've been reading a lot more. Um, I've made a friend who really likes to read books too, so we've been talking about books a lot. And I realize I read a lot of books for fun. I've probably read about 17 this year so far, and I'm delving into another one. So I just read books and I watched shows and I napped, and like I didn't care about anything else. And I start my morning. I have another Instagram page that I made another Instagram account where all that's followed on there is just all my like motivational, like self-care pages that I end up sharing on my actual account. But that's how I start my morning. Every morning I get on there and I just read through and I save all the things that really resonate with me that day. Um, and I will journal from time to time. Uh, it's like it's mostly just trying to take care of myself the best way I know how. And some days that means not moving like yesterday. Today it means going out and having a really great time with my friends here. Talking to you is always very helpful. Reaching out to people, like it varies from day to day. The easiest thing you can, well, the best thing you can do for yourself is learning how to read yourself. So everyone used to say like check in with yourself, and I'm
Mhm,
like, I don't know what the hell that means.
mhm,
I had to go through therapy to realize what that means, where every night before you go to bed or every morning when you wake up you kind of just do like a mental check, like a mental and physical one. Am I feeling okay today? Do I feel like anxiety in my chest, which I do sometimes, and there are days that I still do, and I'm learning to just keep going with it, like it's okay. um, And then what do I need to fix that? Does that mean calling my sister? Calling my best friend? Does that mean just sitting and watching shows and kind of just numbing myself out for a little while? Does it mean ordering my favorite food? What is it gonna take for me to get myself out of this?
mhm.
Um,
Have you explored EMDR yet with your therapist?
no, I have not. You seem to really do well with it, and it sounds great.
Yes, I love it. If you're listening and you don't know what EMDR is, I need to figure out what it stands for. I really should have done my homework before. All I know is that it's amazing and it's a way like you're if you listen to the other, sorry, I'm making a lot of noise. If you listen to the other podcast, I described like specific sessions of therapy for myself, and you think about um, a topic that will bring some kind of body sign to you. So everybody carries anxiety differently, and for me, the I think the biggest takeaway for when I first started therapy was just recognizing that. Like I had no
Yeah.
idea that I had anxiety really
Mhm.
until I think I had kids. At least that's what I told myself. But when I talked to my therapist, she said, "No, Ashley, you've had it your entire life. You just never paid attention to it or you didn't have a way to describe it." So if you think about like that tightness in your chest or the way we have our that pit in your stomach, sometimes I've been noticing too that I'll get tingling in my fingers and legs for whatever reason.
I
uh,
want to go to sleep.
you want to go to sleep, huh?
Like I feel like my brain is starting to like go
Over.
blank and I want to go to sleep.
I have the opposite where I can't sleep.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So EMDR is a way of my therapist says it's a way of releasing that stored memory that is literally trapped in your brain and you can't let go of it. So it's a way of doing I think it's eye movement desensitization R. Yeah.
Good. Good, good.
That sounds good. I my one of my BFFs is actually a therapist. I'm gonna have Claire, if you're listening, I hope you're listening. I'm gonna have you on one of these days soon, hopefully. It's basically where you're holding like a stimulus or you're doing some bilateral movement, tapping your thighs side to side or tapping your shoulders side to side while your therapist is having you close your eyes and think about and discuss another topic that brings you joy. So I was so scared about therapy because I thought, why am I just drudging up the past so that I can rehash it and just cry? Like I don't want to cry all day. Like that's
Yeah.
what I want to do. But if you're not letting go of those emotions, I mean, it has to go somewhere. Like it either turns into road rage or you
Drinking.
or
That's mine. Drinking.
yes, drinking. It goes somewhere. So, um, therapy is a big. It's going to be a major topic on this podcast because of this. Because we're all taught, especially in in ethnic cultures, we are taught that we're supposed to be okay all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like we don't even like depression. That word doesn't even exist. Like
Yeah.
I don't even the thought of going to therapy, I can't even so get this. So like I don't feel comfortable telling my family that I see a
Yeah.
therapist because of the stigma.
Yeah.
Because because you're broken. You're broken if you go to therapy. That's what
Yeah.
that's what
Or something, your family did something wrong.
yeah.
Like it reflects on everybody. It's not just yourself.
Yes, and it's all about image. And that
Mm-hmm.
goes back to my first question to you, which was you calling off this big wedding. Like the
Not only did I do that, I when I started going to therapy, I started sharing a lot of my stuff on Instagram, like a lot of like personal like traumas within my family.
Mhm,
And I'm friends with a lot of people in our like family friend group in our culture, and I was just waiting for it to come and bite me in the ass, but it didn't. But I knew I was oversharing in their eyes probably about things, but there were so many messages, and this is the only reason why I keep doing it. So many messages from people that are like, thanks for sharing this.
mhm,
This is helping me.
mhm.
I'm not alone. I don't feel alone. And not even just girls that were Indian or brown or like, like of other cultures, like everybody is like, I'm relating to you. And it's because we don't freaking talk about it.
Right.
We don't talk about it. We don't talk about our bad days because we have them. All of us have them. And sometimes they're so bad you don't even like you don't know how to handle it.
Yeah.
But you're not the only person that goes through that. And that's all we share on social media is all the good stuff.
Right. No, absolutely. Social media is a way that it's a blessing and a curse. Like it's a blessing because it connected Janam and me and it
Mm-hmm.
connects our little community of amazing women. But it's a curse because, like exactly what Janam just said, it's a highlight reel. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's okay to not be okay. And therapy, whether or not you think you need it, it's a our brain is a muscle. We think that we're exercising our bodies to stay healthy, and yet exercising your thoughts, your thought processes, the way we speak
Yeah,
to ourselves, our limiting beliefs, that's all a part of health.
it is.
What what do you think um, your triumph is these days? Do you have any wins? Like I
So I can kind of go really deep with this. I
I
don't know if this is what you're looking for, but we'll see. I'll answer it and then you tell me. And this will also go back to like the thing that clicked in therapy. The hardest part about therapy was I've been compartmentalizing everything in my life. It's the only way I got through my childhood. It's
Mhm,
the only way I got this far
mhm,
was to literally just put everything away. You just put it away. You don't talk about it. You just put it away. And then occasionally you'll have like this massive meltdown, and then you just put it all back together,
yeah,
And when I started therapy, it was like like this is how we talk about it. I opened Pandora's box and I had no idea what was going to be inside. It meant facing myself and I didn't know what was on the other end. And I couldn't put it back once I opened it. And I could not put it back. I was so overwhelmed because not only am I losing my best friend,
mhm,
like now I'm facing all of my childhood trauma, facing my own coping mechanisms because of my childhood trauma in dealing with my family. Like I did all of that at once. This wasn't a progressive thing that happened. It came at me all at once, and I was letting it all out. All the things I never addressed when I was in high school, when I was in college. Like, I didn't address any of those things, and I didn't know how to put it back. I didn't know how to I didn't know how to put my feelings away. I couldn't be at work. I was having meltdowns at work. I had thoughts of suicide at work, which is terrifying because I work with drugs and needles. Like, that was scary. I like literally pulled myself out of work and I told my anesthesiologist, like, I need to go home. Like, I can't be here. I know exactly where my radial artery is and I have a needle in my hand. Like, that is not a good place for me to be right now. And I slowly started wading through it. It took a lot of time and it took me a whole month to just slowly make my way through all of these things. And now I have this ability to feel everything and it doesn't take over. So I post about this a lot. There are days like I wake up from really bad dreams and that's how I start my day. And it sucks, man, because you have that weight in your chest. But you know what's crazy is now I know that there's a weight in my chest. Like you said, a dread, you have anxiety now. You know that it's there. And I don't fight it anymore. You just have to kind of let yourself know that it's there and that it's okay because it's not going to be there forever. And so that is probably my biggest triumph from all of this is being able to feel things and it not just absolutely obliterating my sense of self and my life and like what's going to happen.
You're amazing. You're amazing. You are
Thank you.
you're one of my faves, and I, gosh, I mean, do you guys see why Janam is the first guest? Like, this, ladies, is exactly what I wanted this podcast to be and more. Like, it was a way for us to really talk about the things that we think to ourselves that we are embarrassed by, or we think that we're alone in our thoughts. And Janam, you just poured your whole heart into this episode, and I'm so grateful. And I will tell you, I get a lot of messages outside, like I get a lot of private messages, and I know for a fact, in fact, two women just within the last few weeks of each other both told me that they are struggling because of calling off their weddings.
No.
So I'm hoping at some point I can talk with them either anonymously or publicly on this forum. But what would you tell those two women right now, knowing what you know now, or what would you tell for anyone who's having just heartbreak, not just a wedding, but yeah, I'll let you take the floor.
Well, the worst thing, and a lot of people told me this, is like, it's going to be okay. Well, yeah, it will be, but it doesn't feel like it when you're in the middle of it. It doesn't at all. It feels like your entire like life is being snatched away from you. It feels like death,
Mhm.
actually.
Because it
That's
was.
exactly what it's equivalent to
Right.
is feeling, and that's what it is. You're going to go through your 5 stages of grief. That's what's going to happen. And the best thing I can tell you is just don't fight it. Don't fight your thoughts, even if they're awful. Like, I've had some awful thoughts, like angry thoughts, and I'm not angry. I don't like having them. It makes you feel really bad about yourself. Just let yourself feel them and just know that you're not your thoughts. You're not your thoughts. And the more you try to fight those feelings, the stronger they're going to get, and they're just going to become even more overwhelming. Um, the thing that helped me with it the most was journaling. Um, and I write, but also in my phone, I have this one note page that's locked, and it's called the brain dump.
What is it called?
Whatever your brain dump, it's literally just me dumping my brain out. So just, it doesn't matter if it's not, it doesn't even have to be coherent. Just start pouring it out. Um, and find the people that can really understand you. And honestly, if you want to reach out to me because the hardest part is finding somebody who really gets it. And the only person that you think really gets it is the other person on the other side because they're losing the same thing as you. And that's the person you want to talk to, but that's probably not what's best for you. Um, so find somebody who can really understand what you're going through. Um, which again, if you want to reach out to me, I'm here. It won't be super traumatic for me to talk about it. I can talk about it now and not cry. So if anything, that's your hope, is like, if I can have surgeons at work now come up to me and be like, you were supposed to get married. I'm like, that didn't happen. And I don't break down and have a total massive panic attack. That means you can do it too. Give yourself grace. That's the biggest thing. Like, it's okay.
That's so awesome. And we'll link Janam's contact information, like her handle, and of course she's a part of the Little Black Dress community on Facebook. If you're listening to this and you're not a part of that community, please request to join. It's for women only. Um, let's I mean, we this was so good. Like I feel like you're going to be a regular guest on this show because we're going to be checking in on you, talking about like, are you getting yourself out there with dating? I'm not going to ask you this
Yeah,
episode. You, but you can. I can't wait for you to give us an update on your life and just where you're at emotionally, mentally.
I would love to. I'm so happy to do this.
Oh,
And I
good.
hope that I can like help a lot of people through all their crap too, because this was hard. It was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, hands down.
Oh, yeah. It you're you're amazing, and you're so resilient. And I'm so happy that we connected, and I'm so happy we got to spend an
I
hour today.
know.
Like I miss you, and we guys we've never met in real life. This is
I know. We were supposed to meet in Minneapolis and then it
no,
freaking happened.
no, but
It's okay. You're gonna have a black dress pod, a little black dress pod, you're gonna have your own little conference shindig and then we'll just all get together.
you know what? That is actually such a goal of mine for if not next year because I want to focus on the startup group and
Mm-hmm.
getting that retreat up and running. But um, this, as you can tell, I'm sure you can tell from listening, this is my passion. Like I want to connect women and lift each other up. Like that's I love this stuff. Like I could talk all day about the struggles that we're facing as professionals, as trying to keep it together as
Mm-hmm.
a mom. You're not a mom yet, but like that's all stuff that bond us, bind us, bond and bind.
Both. Who knows?
Yes. Okay, we're gonna wrap up. What is one thing that people don't know about you?
Okay, so on my little interview thingy, I wrote that I was co-captain of the cheerleading squad in high school.
Oh, hey.
But then I asked my best friends, and this is really embarrassing, but also funny. She said, you should tell everyone that you sleep like you're possessed. So,
What does that mean? What does that mean?
have you seen Avatar? You know, his eyes go white, the airbender. I roll my eyes back, and my eyes are like kind of open. So, I sleep like I'm possessed. So, if any of you ever, for some reason we're in the same hotel room or having a massive sleepover, you'll notice that I wear an eye mask, and it's so that you don't think that I'm dead.
Especially after a few tequila shots, right?
Oh, I bet. I mean, honestly, it's probably really bad.
I love it. Oh my gosh. Okay, what's next for Janam with your job, with your future? Like you could either do short term, long term, you tell me.
So that's been the hard thing. So I'm not making any massive life decisions until December. Um,
Wait,
but
what's
I think December is just giving myself enough time to not make any rash choices. But I think I'm gonna buy a house, guys.
Oh,
I'm trying to adult
in
in Georgia,
Georgia.
right where my job is. I have another year contract with my job.
Okay.
So I haven't decided if I'm going to stay after that or not. But even if I don't, it'll be a nice little investment for me. So I don't know. I could go to New Mexico. I could go to Texas. There's so many options, and I just don't know what I want yet.
Can you come to California?
I can't work in California. You know what you do? What we need to do is your husband and I need to link up and then start working on some like legal stuff so that I could come work in California.
Okay, let's get a list going. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that'd
Uh,
be great.
oh my goodness. Is okay, and then I'm gonna end it with what's one question? Oh no, I have two questions. Okay,
Okay.
one is from Colin. What is one question you wish I had asked you that I didn't?
Oh God, I don't know. I feel like I covered all the bases here.
Okay,
I
so
think you covered it all.
good.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is from Colin. What is something you always have in your bag?
Do you, I almost want to go get my bag, but that might be a little crazy. I have a Tide to Go pen in my bag all the time.
I love it. I love
Always.
it.
It's
Oh,
in there right now.
I love it. Oh my
Yes.
goodness, that is so awesome. Well, okay, you guys, I'm so happy that you spent your morning with us or your afternoon with us since
Well,
we're.
well, yeah. Should we tell them that I woke up super early this
Oh,
morning?
I mean, yeah, you go right ahead.
I woke up at, okay, so I'm used to being on the other coast and then having to plan meetings that are happening on this side of the country. So I'm used to having to subtract 3 hours from the time that I'm told. And so I was like, oh, I have to get up at 7 o'clock tomorrow for the 7:30 podcast. So I got up, I got all settled in, was sitting on this couch. And then I'm like, it's 7:25. She hasn't texted me, nothing's happened. And then something clicked, and I was like, oh my God, I am so stupid. And then I went back to sleep. So I did go back to
Good,
sleep.
good.
That's good. But I can't believe that I woke up at 7 o'clock and I didn't have to.
That is so funny. Well, I can't believe that you think 7 o'clock is sleeping in, or early, I should say, early.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, for work, I get up at like 5:40,
Oh, okay.
but
Yeah.
it's for me, it is like, I mean, I'm on vacation. I don't want to get up at 7 o'clock.
Oh my goodness, that
You
is
have kids. It's very different for you.
very different. Cody was in our room at 5:20 this
No,
morning.
thank you.
Yeah.
Nope. Nope.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, I'm gonna wrap it up then. Thank you to my beautiful guest, Janam, for joining us.
Thank you. Thank
Um,
you. Thank
as
you.
always, it's such a pleasure to connect with you and see your face. And I'm so happy that you're doing so well. And it's only been a short amount of time. So thanks for letting us in today. And yeah, we will link everything that Johnam talked about on the show, where to find her, how to connect with her, where to get a Tide pen. I'm just kidding. Tide, you should sponsor our.
Tied to go, especially for all of you who have children.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. Okay. Well, so something that we always have as we just started this, something that I always have in my bag is cocoa floss.
Oh,
Um,
yeah. That sounds good.
oh, so good. And for the listeners of this show, use the code LBD Pod 21. You get 20% off. And cocoa floss is seriously the best floss ever. Find us on Instagram, little black dress. Gosh, what's our
Odd. I
pod?
think that's what it is.
Little Black Dress Pod. Join our Facebook community, Little Black Dress. And I'm Ashley at Ashley Hoves DDS. Find Johnum. What do you want to? I'll.
Yeah, it's
Or you
it's Janu, JANU _ 2394.
394. Well, thank you guys so much, and we look forward to talking with you next week. Take care, guys.
Bye.
Bye.